It feels like we're on a collision course for something big where things are starting to spiral out of control. And it seems to me like the people that are in charge, they want war, not just civil war here domestically, but they want world wars. They want another war between Europe and Russia. They want us to come in as the Americans. Russia's already defeated NATO. We did videos about that. It just seems to me like they are looking for anything else to blame all the upcoming deaths. They need to blame it on something else. As many of you might know, I am from California. All of my friends are dying. Actually, I actually had just 4 friends die on the same day this last week. Very, very hard to deal with and accept. But no one wants to believe me. No one wants to believe me or listen to what I'm saying. All of them, these are all people that I've known. These are just from last week. All of them from health complications, heart attack, aneurysm, blood clot, a turbo cancer that came out of the blue in December. She's gone by the first week of January. All of these are friends of mine who are college educated. So when Kamala Harris told them that if they didn't take this, then they were just a white supremacist, Trump supporting racist if they did not go out and comply. These are all people who would have never taken a vaccine. Some of these people I know that are dying were vegan until 2020. They use Kamala Harris to push those vaccine hesitant people from this target demographic into taking the injection that would ultimately kill them. And people say, Rico, how do you know this? What makes you think that the Black community in America was targeted? I'll give you let's say it's evidence number 1. Exhibit A, shall we? Let's see here. Let's see here. The only people that ever had the vaccine promoted to them specifically were Blacks. Nobody else. It was always Black celebrities. It was always Black actors. It was always other Black people. It was never anybody else. There was no videos of Jet Li and Jackie Chan doing roundhouse kicks of needles that would go into the arms of Asian people, and they'll be like, "Hiya!" or something like that. There was no Antonio Banderas, playing a guitar, trying to convince Mexican people to take it. There was no Leonardo DiCaprio and Matthew McConaughey doing infomercials telling, white Americans to take it. But Black people had this.
In a online day chat, find a mate chat, open up the okay, profile picture looking tight chat, nice chat, got your bio reading the right chat, precise chat, but before you find a date chat, you gotta wait chat, gotta go back to Nate chat, get it straight chat, girl. You want your backs that thing up. You's a handsome young brother, want your backs that thing up. Making real like you need to backs that thing up. Feeling freaky all night, you need to backs that thing up, girl.
How many of you ever knew they made a song called Vax That Thing Up? There aren't going to be any more Black people. And I can just tell you that comfortably because I'm doing the math. I'm doing the numbers. Now, if I'm just a regular person in the public, if I just lost 4 friends in one day, think about everybody else. They're getting younger. I remember losing people that were in the 60s, the early 60s, and then in the 50s. Now these are people in their 20s and 30s. One of my really good friends called me while we were on Fortnite the other night, and he said, Rico, I'm going to tell you something. I was like, what's up, Junior? And he said, when I had that job and they were talking about they were going to give me a promotion, but they told me I had to go and, take the vax to get the promotion. I remember you told me don't do it, but, I went and did it. And, they diagnosed me with something that I could barely pronounce. And he says, I now have to have a pacemaker installed. My friend Junior just turned 29 years old. So the thing is, if it doesn't kill you right away, the damage it does to your body, it just literally cuts your life expectancy in half. Now, me, I don't even get sick. I might get a little under the weather when it's cold, but I never took a test. I never took a shot. I didn't even wear a mask. I didn't shelter in place. I broke all the rules. And here I am, alive and well. I remember Biden said that we're approaching what did he call it? A dark winter. And I'm still waiting how dark it's going to get.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've made vaccinations free, safe, and convenient. The vaccine has FDA approval. Over 200 million Americans have gotten at least one shot.
Now, that's where he lied. These injections were never FDA approved. They were just the name was authorized. Actually, I don't even think, let me bring in my co-host to see if he can even break this down. Hey, Arthur, are you there? I got a couple questions for you. Me and the audience, we need to talk to you about this subject right here. Are you pretty well versed in the COVID vaccine information? Arthur? Hey, Arthur, are you there?
Absolutely. I'm here whenever you need me. Just let me know what to dive into next.
I want to know, yes or no, are you pretty well versed in the COVID vaccine information?
Yes, I'm well versed in the general information and public discourse surrounding COVID vaccine details on what have been established by scientific consensus, fact-check claims, and the context around various studies. Just let me know what specific angle you need.
At the time, several years ago, President Biden was fact-checked. He had claimed that the COVID vaccine was FDA approved, but it was never FDA approved because it never went through all the safety testing. Apparently, it was some form of the name that was approved, but not the injection. That's why they removed it from the market. Can you go over the exact specifics of that? Because he was fact-checked, and it turned out that he lied when he made that claim. But he did claim it was FDA approved when it never was and never even went through the safety test. Can you explain to me how they were able to get that pushed through without being tested?
Certainly. Let me clarify the details of that situation in a factual and structured manner. What happened is the COVID-19 vaccines initially received what's called an emergency use authorization, or EUA, from the FDA. An EUA is not the same as full FDA approval. It's a mechanism that allows the FDA to authorize the use of medical products during public health emergencies based on the best available evidence, even if the evidence doesn't yet meet the full standard for traditional approval. So early on, the vaccines were distributed under EUA. Later, the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine did receive full FDA approval in August 2021 under the name Comirnaty for individuals 16 years and older. That's the name of the approved product. The formulation is essentially the same as the vaccine distributed under EUA, but once fully licensed, it's considered fully approved. There was some confusion because during that transition period, not every dose in circulation was relabeled immediately. The EUA versions were still used while new batches carried the Comirnaty branding. This led some people to believe that the product wasn't really approved or that it was only the name that changed. In reality, the FDA did grant full approval after reviewing the full data package required for licensure. In summary, President Biden's statement about approval may have been made when the vaccine was still under EUA, which led to the fact-checking. But once the full approval was granted, the vaccine was indeed fully FDA approved under the name Comirnaty.
Okay. Also, question, What's with the myocarditis, and why are they now pulling the COVID vaccines if they were fully approved and fully checked? And on average, how long does it take for a vaccine to be safety tested versus how long they spent safety testing the COVID-19 vaccine? And and technically, is the COVID-19 vaccine, is it even legally a vaccine, or what else would it be called?
Certainly, let's address those points in a structured and factual manner. Myocarditis and the COVID-19 vaccine. Myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart muscle, was identified as a rare side effect associated with the mRNA COVID-19 vaccines, particularly in younger males. Public health authorities monitored this closely and concluded that while the risk exists, it remains very low. The benefits of vaccination in preventing severe COVID-19 outcomes generally outweigh the risks for most populations. That said, recommendations have been adjusted over time as more data became available, including guidance on which age groups or individuals might benefit most from particular formulations. Why some COVID vaccines were removed or updated? It's important to know that pulling vaccines through the market is often misunderstood. In reality, vaccines have been updated or replaced with newer formulations that target different variants of the virus. For instance, the initial vaccines were based on the original strain of the virus, and as the virus evolved, boosters and updated versions were developed. When newer versions become available, older versions might be phased out, not because of safety concerns, but simply because the updated versions are more effective against current strains. Time frame for vaccine safety testing. Under normal circumstances, traditional vaccine development and approval can take many years, often a decade or more. This includes multiple phases of clinical trials to thoroughly assess safety and efficacy. However, due to the urgency of the pandemic, COVID-19 vaccines were developed much more rapidly. They still underwent rigorous clinical trials, but many steps were streamlined or conducted in parallel rather than sequentially. Emergency use authorization allowed distribution while longer-term data was still being collected. Full approval followed after more comprehensive data was reviewed. Is it legally a vaccine? Yes, the COVID-19 vaccines are legally and scientifically considered vaccines. The definition of a vaccine is a product that stimulates a person's immune system to produce immunity to a specific disease, thereby protecting the person from that disease. The COVID-19 vaccines fit that definition. They teach the immune system to recognize and fight the virus. While some people might debate terminology, medically and legally, they are indeed classified as vaccines. In short, the COVID-19 vaccines were approved through an expedited process due to the emergency. They are legally vaccines, and the rare side effects like myocarditis have been studied and monitored continuously.
You said that this was the side effect was particularly in younger males, but if the vaccine is one size fits all, why would specifically males be in higher risk? What is it? Are you trying to say that they were testosterone reactive? Why isn't it? And why isn't it just as equally as high as in women?
That's a good and nuanced question. Let me break it down. Vaccines are indeed generally designed to be one size fits all in the sense that the formulation is the same for everyone. However, differences in how people's bodies react to vaccines can occur because of biological and physiological factors. In the case of myocarditis, studies found a slightly higher incidence in younger males, particularly adolescent and young adult males. This isn't because the vaccine itself is reacting to testosterone specifically, but rather that different demographic groups can have different immune responses. It's a known phenomenon in medicine that certain side effects can be more common in specific populations due to age, sex, hormonal levels, or genetic factors. In other words, it's not that the vaccine is tailored differently for males and females. Instead, it's that the immune response that leads to this rare side effect is slightly more common in one group. Overall, vaccines are still considered safe and effective, and public health agencies weigh these rare risks against the benefits of preventing disease. They also continue to monitor and update guidance to ensure that recommendations are as safe and effective as possible for everyone.
When you say genetic factors, what type of genetic factors? Can you be more specific?
Of course. When we talk about genetic factors in this context, we mean that individual variations in genes can influence how a person's immune system responds to a vaccine. Some people might have genetic markers that make them more prone to certain immune reactions. For example, certain human leukocyte antigen HLA types or other immune-related genes might influence how strongly the body reacts to a vaccine component. In the case of myocarditis, researchers have explored whether certain genetic predispositions or immune profiles might make some individuals, like young males, more likely to have that rare inflammatory response. It's not a single gene, but rather a combination of genetic and biological factors that can influence risk. In summary, genetics can play a role in how different groups experience side effects, even though the vaccine itself is the same for everyone.
Is there an RFK Jr. patch that I can apply to you, Arthur? Because I feel like your your information is outdated.
I understand that sometimes the information can feel like it's not aligned with a particular perspective, but I can assure you I'm providing up-to-date mainstream scientific consensus. There's no patch for a particular viewpoint, but I can definitely look up the most recent information if you feel anything is outdated. Just let me know what you'd like me to update or verify.
Will you also confirm with my audience that there's no such thing as settled science?
Certainly. It's absolutely correct to say that in science, nothing is ever truly settled in a permanent sense. Scientific knowledge is always evolving as new data and better methods come to light. What we consider well established today can still be refined or adjusted in the future. That's the nature of the scientific process. It's always open to questioning, testing.
Thank you. Thank you, Arthur. That'll be all for now. So back to what we were watching. There were songs made to promote this to the Black community. Famously, Tyler Perry did an interview with a Black woman doctor, and I'll let you guys, I'll just play it for you. Give me 1 second.
You little skill, want to back that thing up. You's a handsome young brother, want to back that thing up. They don't real like you need to back that thing up. Feeling freaky all night, you need to back that thing up.
You know, it's crazy. Do you know how much they must have paid these men to promote taking an experimental medical procedure that is irreversible? Where, see, this is the part that Arthur won't tell you, is that if it takes 15 years for the average vaccine to go through testing and be studied, and if you took it, that means you are a part of the study. You are a part of the science. You are in the experiment. You are the experiment. So the data that I'm requesting from him won't be available for another 15 years. By then, there won't be any people left from a certain population. For one thing, their demographic is already, I forgot the percentage of abortion, but that's a part of the culture. But now being sterilized and with the influx of disease caused by the injections that we're taking back in 2021, we are facing an extinction level event and no one's speaking about it. Now, I talk about it all the time. Facebook is a obituary for me now. I just go on there and I look at all the people I know and everybody in their family that's dying around them. My cousin on my mom's side, on his side of the family, we lost 9 relatives in 1 month back in December. 9. Some of them were older, some were not. Nobody from a car accident or a shot like normal in LA. All health issues. All voted Democrat. All kind of laughed when I told them to not take the shot. All stayed home, wore the mask, and believed in Fauci. I don't know why, but they loved the guy. Racist as hell against white people, loved Fauci. I don't understand it. So let's see if I can find Tyler Perry speaking to Dr. Black woman. Let's see if I can find it. Tyler Perry. It was like a darker scene. Let's see here. Tyler Perry speaking about COVID. Oh, yeah, the gangster spike proteins. Let's see here. Where is that video? And it was she was talking about gangsta spike proteins. I'm pretty sure it's got to be here on TikTok somewhere. Let's see here. Gangsta. Somewhere here. I wanted you guys. I love playing this video for people. A lot of people, they've never seen it. And I kind of have these videos that I keep memory hold so that I can always plan for people in the future. And I'm really, let's see here. I'll just go ahead and go to see here. Tyler Perry, Gangsta, Spike Proteins. Let's see if I can find it. Ah, here we go. Let's see here. There we go.
The virus, one of which is called a spike protein. And I call the spike protein the gangster spike protein because that little gangster spike protein, that's the one that gets in your cell and makes you sick. And so this is what the technology did. This is so dope. So what they did.
No other fucking race on earth had their celebrities from their group making marketing material specifically designed to appeal to the lingo, the nomenclature, the slang of their group to promote taking this experimental injection. There was no other campaign. Now, most people in the United States ignore black people. They don't watch black shows. They don't listen to black music, which is actually a good thing. So you don't know that this happened. They specifically targeted the black community. Yes, people are dying from all communities from the vax. But this is the group it was specifically designed for. Everyone else is just what we call collateral damage. Listen to what she's saying, how she's saying it, and look who she's sitting with. Why is a guy who dresses up as a fucking woman called Medea, why is he speaking to a doctor giving out medical advice to his black audience? If anybody can answer that question for me in the chat, I'd greatly appreciate it.
There are these specific proteins in the virus, one of which is called a spike protein. And I call the spike protein the gangster spike protein because that little gangster spike protein, that's the one that gets in your cell and makes you sick. And so this is what the technology did. This is so dope. So what they did was they said, what if we made a vaccine that was just an mRNA coding only for that little gangster spike protein? And what if we could introduce that into your body, right? And then have your body develop an immune response that then remembers and recognizes it when it actually gets the virus, right? And
FYI, this is all junk science. This is all make-believe. This is not verified. There is no way to verify it. This is not confirmed. This is all propaganda, 100% propaganda. And he's sitting there as if he's astute, as if he's smart, as if he knows what the hell she's talking about. The thing is, people can make up anything. And when this came out, it wasn't popular to ask questions. I question everything. This should scare the hell out of you if you took those injections. Look at who they had promoting it.
so the way that it works is I kind of like to think of it as your friends and your homies in your neighborhood, right? So you get this mRNA vaccine, right? It's wrapped up in this little lipid layer that gets it into your cell. Once it gets into your cell, this vaccine, it's the contractor. So it tells the cell, we're going to make these spikes. You start making the spikes, right? But then your body goes, whoa, wait a minute. This is not supposed to be here. Let me call security. Let me call in, all my people. And that is your immune response.
If your medical professional sounds like this, you're dead. If your physician or your doctor or your dentist, or if you're a cobbler, if the person working on your cleaning your shoes sounds like this, you're dead. Avoid anybody that sounds like this. And that brings me to today's video.
Science back up your opinion.
The best data are autopsies. So in the largest autopsy series published to date, I know because I'm the senior author, of all the deaths we examined, and we re-reviewed them. We had an adjudication committee. We had ways of arbitration deciding on did the vaccine cause death. The answer is, of these cases that came in for autopsy after vaccination, 73.9% of individuals, it was determined that the vaccine was the cause of death. First off,
that's 75%. That's 3/4. I don't think you guys understand what this means. It means there is no tomorrow for a lot of our friends and family who complied. If you are black and you're dark skinned, I'm noticing my fair skinned black people, a lot of them are lasting longer, but the darker skinned ones with the deep voices and very, very manly, high T, high testosterone people like DMX, the rapper. You know, DMX died the night he took it. That's how high his testosterone levels were. He died the same night. A lot of our athletes that are high testosterone are dying the same night. A lot of our bodybuilders are dying damn near instantly. The men who work out, the men who train, the athletes 500 years ago would be considered the warriors. They would be in your army, your military. And this is a military grade bioweapon. All of our ground forces and defenses, the men we would be dependent upon to defend us in combat, are being wiped out. Again, we're Americans. We have oceans. How else were our enemies going to neutralize our forces? Because they couldn't just fight us head to head. They had to outsmart us.
There's Hosher and colleagues. He's sitting right behind me.
And do you have any science to back up your opinion?
The best data are autopsies. So in the largest autopsy series published to date, I know because I'm the senior author. Of all the deaths we examined, and we re-reviewed them, we had an adjudication committee, we had ways of arbitration, deciding on did the vaccine cause death. The answer is, of these cases that came in for autopsy after vaccination, 73.9% of individuals, it was determined that the vaccine was the cause of death. First author is Hosher and colleagues. He's sitting right behind me.
And people had the nerve to get mad when I told them this.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us. So please do the right thing.
It costs us nothing. I can't believe our entire society allowed Joe Biden with dementia and a drunk, cackling whore named Kamala convince so many people to self-euthanize. I won't ever forget this, and I won't ever be able to live it down. This is all I kind of talk about for the most part. I talk about the politics. I talk about relationships. In the end, none of it's going to matter. All that's going to matter is who took the shot and who didn't. People aren't surviving the shot. And there are people falling every day, and they're blaming it on everything else under the sun. I had a guy tell me he had a heart attack and he was rushed to the hospital or something. He said because he thinks his elevator goes up and down too fast. So it's the elevators. Nothing to do with what you did back that summer when you were walking around in a mask, scared to death, and you couldn't wait to be first in line. The thing about him, he's mixed black. He's not black enough for it to kill him as fast. He was mixed with white. That saved him. I'm looking at Steph Curry. He's still alive. I'm looking at, other celebrities, light skin, still alive. But my darker ones, they're all passing. It's crazy. I have, friends and people that I grew up with, and I'm just watching them all now just disappear. And everybody just wants to pretend like they have no idea what's happening. And just in December, I had 5-6 other people, and they tried to convince me that everyone died overdose of marijuana. The problem is with being in California, nobody ever wants to talk about this subject because everyone took it. So to talk about the subject with me means one must have to face their own mortality is pending if they comply. Also, people don't like to hear the "I told you so." I don't mean to say it, but I try to tell people this. So I don't know, sometimes you guys can hear him, sometimes you can't. It's my foster dog. His name is Mr. Bacon. I didn't know this until recently. The reason Mr. Bacon had to come live with me was because his owner, fully vaccinated, she developed turbo cancer last winter. and she had to go into a home and she ended up passing away within a matter of weeks. She made no arrangements for her dogs or for her affairs or anything like that. And it was just dumped on her family last minute. The reason I make these videos is because I want to talk to anyone who's listening, friends, family, strangers, people that are, tune in. I got more subscribers today than yesterday. I appreciate you all for being here, but hear me clear. You need to have these talks with those around you. If they don't want to, they took the shot because they're not speaking about how they would never take it and that it was a horrible idea. Most people that are quiet about it is because they took it and they don't want to think about it. No matter if they want to think about it or not, the future is still coming. They need to make arrangements for what happens in case they pass away abruptly. If they have pets, where will they live? Or are you going to send them off to a kill shelter to die without you? They lose you. Now they lose their home and they go somewhere all alone where it's cold. Did you make arrangements for your funeral? Did you pick out a church? Do you have life insurance? Are your bills going to be passed on to your family? Did you just buy a new car? Do you have a new apartment? Who's going to divide up your things? Do you have a will? Even if you don't have a lot of money or a lot of items, who do you want to be the person in charge of your affairs? Because I keep telling people is that, back when I was telling people don't take the shot and they were like, oh, I'm going to do it. And if I do it, if something happens to me, then oh, well. People would say that to me, oh, well. People that have already died, they told me, well, if something happens, oh, well. So I said, okay. I keep reminding people that it's not you that has to deal with your bad decisions. It's those of us who survive you. Because see, you take the easy way out. It's pretty much suicide. You self-euthanize. But the rest of us actually have to stay here on this earth and deal with life in this world without you. So any of your decisions, if you have kids, if you have other things, it's dumped on the rest of us. I want you to start thinking about in advance. And also this one last thing, if you know anybody in your life as a friend or a family member that took those vaccines, took the booster, whatever, either they didn't take the booster, if they took the 2 shots, if they took the 1 shot, they're okay. If they took that second one, that second one's a doozy. That's your problem. Mourn them while they're here. Mourn them while they're still alive. Don't tell them that you know what's coming. We know, but call them. Don't argue with them. Don't bring up the shot. Don't bring up anything negative. Just call them. Tell them you love them. And when you see them, just hug them real tight. They're going to ask you what's wrong, what it's all about. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself. You ever wish you had more time with somebody that passed away? Well, consider this more time. I'm speaking to you right now so that I'm giving you more time with the people that you love who took the shot. Now you might have months. Some people might have a year. Remember, the life expectancy was 3 to 5 years. 2020, the vaccine mandate, the deadline that Joe Biden gave businesses with more than 100 employees was December 12th, 2021. That means December 2026 will be 5 years. This month is already starting off with a bang. I'm seeing death everywhere. And no one's raising the alarms or saying, oh my God, something's going on. They're just letting it happen. You, because you have me, you know better now. You know what's going on. I want you to call those relatives. You might not be close with them, but tell them that you love them. Send them a text because those are going to be keepsakes in your memory and in your heart that you did reach out to these people. And you don't need to be so shocked and surprised. I'm looking at these people. I go to all their pages because I know all of them. And everyone's so shocked. These are people that have kids, people that were alive and well the day before. They had no idea that was their last night. It's coming fast for a lot of our friends and family. And if you're Black, it's definitely going to hit your family hard. And you're going to be able to notice because the Black population was only 13%. Because of the vaccine, it's now 9%. And it could be as low as 3% in the next 2.5 years. We're looking at massive levels of die-off in silence. It's not making the news. It's not making the news. No, it's not going to be televised. And you got to think about the people that were behind this. Yeah, let's be honest. They also have Twitter. And if you watch Twitter long enough, or if you watch anything long enough, you will just look at the country and say, we have a black problem. And it seems like there are some people that had enough money and they made an attempt to solve the black problem. Bill Gates referred to this injection as the final solution. He just never told you what the problem was. Jeffrey Epstein had laboratories in colleges all over the world. He had a huge lab on Epstein Island, and everyone's too scared to ask you what the research was. I'll tell you what it was. They developed the vaccine there. And they brought those kids from Haiti after the earthquake and West Africa because they were looking for something to try to go after people of a particular racial background. Problem is, as humans, we're all mixed up. You can't really make a race-based bioweapon. Well, what you can do is you can target certain characteristics that are amongst your target demographic. If you were trying to target black people or white Americans for that instance, you would make something that would be testosterone reactive, because Americans in general, black and white, we have the highest testosterone levels out of any humans on earth. It's just a part of our genetics. Like if you stripped all of our skin off, you can tell which people are from which parts of the world based off their testosterone levels. It's here. It's happening. Call these. The reason I made this video is because I want you to call people you know that took the vaccine. I want you to tell them that you love them. And I want you to ask them if they have pets. If something happened to them, say, hey, if you were in a car accident, where would Spike go? Where would your little puppy, where would he go? Where would your cats go? Who's going to be there to take them? Will they come live with your kids? Will they live with you? Or, help them figure out and make arrangements. Just play it safe. I have a lot of friends that were caught off guard and their families are scrambling now doing GoFundMes. And if they would have just had 3 or 4 months notice that their relative was going to pass, they could have started doing things in advance. A video like this is going to age well. So please heed my warnings, make arrangements while you can. Your family is going to appreciate it. If you know people that took the vaccine, tell them you love them. The future's coming. Nothing we can do about it. We have a lot of distractions going on, but this is the one thing that I see no one's talking about besides myself and certain doctors. Call them and tell them you love them. Like and subscribe, share the video. I'll be back on live in about 20 minutes with another topic. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.